Alrighty, everyone. Hello. Thanks for joining us. My name is Joni Girardi. I'm DataSelf's founder and CEO. I've been working with business intelligence solutions for mid-sized companies for about 20 years. We'll be talking about how BI overall can help manufacturing companies, and we'll also show how the DataSelf does it. But hopefully you'll learn something from this webinar, regardless of what BI solution you use. Clark, can you please also introduce yourself and turn the webcam on?
Greetings, my name is Clark Walliser. I've been at DataSelf for about 2 years now. I come from a background of about 30 years working as an ERP consultant. Worked in, first of all, distribution, finance, moved into manufacturing. Later years was focusing on manufacturing and moved into business intelligence. And after many years of discussing issues with Joni, I finally drank the Kool-Aid and came on board. I'm a happy camper here. So my focus is how people use their ERP and CRM systems and how to get information out of those in meaningful ways to make business decisions.
Thank you, Clark. And Clark has been with VARs, with end users, and now with DataSelf, and also working with many manufacturing companies. So he'll bring some good insights from being different places of the business in mid-sized companies. Anyhow, let's move along, and let's talk first of all why many companies are looking for a BI solution to improve their manufacturing, the decision-making process around manufacturing. One of the good news is because companies have a lot of data. They have in the ERP system, in the MRP system. Actually, nowadays, if you're in this webinar, most likely it's because you use one of these ERP systems that I'm showing. Some of them, they have built in the MRP inside of them, and you might be using them. Maybe it's an add-on, maybe it's a third-party component. But usually, if you're a manufacturing company, you probably have a lot of different data silos. You might have Excel for many reporting or data sources, or maybe Google Sheets. You might use CRM like Salesforce, HubSpot, Sage CRM, Acumatica CRM. You might have e-commerce, Shopify, Magento. I mean, there's a lot of different data sources that people use to run their business. DataSelf alone, we are a small business. We have more than 20 different systems to run our business. And when we here are trying to make decisions of how we can better serve our clients, quite often we have to log to different systems, and we have to do, who has the credentials, how it works. We are bringing our own data into DataSelf, but the reality is people have a lot of systems and it becomes challenging. We hear a lot of management saying that, they have a data house divided. The data is all over the place. And they are flying blind. They're making decisions based on gut feeling or based on some Excel report that someone put together. Is the right information? Is this Excel refreshed? Is Excel going to the wrong hands? It's very hard to control that kind of information and seeing what's happening. So flying blind is a big challenge for many organizations. Some people say they have Excel hell. There's nothing wrong with Excel. Excel is a great tool. Excel hell is the concept of having reports built by different people using different tools, sometimes Excel, sometimes reporting services, or Crystal, or let's say Acumatica reporting. Different people working with different reporting tools and coming up with their own ways to define their metrics. And sometimes the numbers don't match. And sometimes you don't know when the data was refreshed. So Excel hell is this natural way of progressing from a small business with some simple reports into a framework where many people are involved and you lose control of the information. So that's Excel hell. Also, people complain a lot that this kind of framework, with the Excel hell, it becomes labor intensive. There's a lot of people all the time working to get the data to the decision makers. A lot of hours from technical people, from business analysts, to validate the data, to be sure the data gets to the right hands at the right time. Sometimes the reports are sent to the wrong people. It's labor intensive. It's very complicated. It's not effective. How can you address these issues? Typically, a big chunk of the solution can be solved by using what is called enterprise reporting or enterprise BI solutions. I'll talk about DataSelf as part of it, as part of the solution, but you can use any enterprise level reporting platform to tackle those things. And a big chunk of the solution relies on data warehousing. Data warehousing is a pretty mature technology where you pull the data from your data sources, initially maybe only the ERP and MRP, but any data source can be your payroll, your Google Analytics, your Excel sheets, everything that is used for the decision-making process. You bring the data into the data warehouse is a single place where you maintain your rules, your key performance indicators. How do you look at your revenues, at your gross profit, at your friction rates? Everything is defined in a single place in the data warehouse. The data is refreshed automatically. Just, computers will do all of these things that people do, in Excel, copy and paste. Nope, the computer does all of this crunching. And then if you use high-end analytics tools like Tableau and Power BI, they are amazing at providing business users with easy access to their data using grid reports, dashboards, charts, very easy to interact. You can open in mobile devices, you can use in browsers, in Mac computers, any device, computer device, pretty much you can access your reports and KPIs. And it's very secure if you use the right security dials. Even Excel, if you plug Excel to a data warehouse, you can eliminate the Excel help perspective because Excel is also a great tool when properly connected to your data sources. So data warehouse, a big part of the solution for your Excel help issues. Embracing tools like Tableau or Power BI is also usually a great movement. There are some other vendors as well, but these two are the leaders. And with DataSelf, and I'm going to talk a little bit about DataSelf, we do have this whole data warehouse, Tableau, Power BI, and Excel as options, and we have a lot of reports ready to go on day one. So with DataSelf, if you were to choose our solution, we can pretty much get you up and running in a matter of half an hour, inexpensively, and you can leverage this amazing technology quickly and easily. Anyhow, so that's typically how analytics can help manufacturing companies from a high-level perspective. Now, let's jump into the product presentation. And during the product presentation, a portion of it, Clark will take over. He'll talk about some use cases that he's been involved with in how BI has been helping those companies tackle manufacturing problems. But we'll go over, first of all, how a data house divided that I showed you before looks into a data house united when you use a enterprise level BI solution like DataSelf. So I'm going to show you that. Then Clark will take over to talk about some out-of-the-box reports that we have in DataSelf. And many of them, if you don't use DataSelf, if you're not going to use DataSelf, you can use those templates as inspiration to help you design your own BI solution. So look at some of those KPIs. We'll show how natural language, machine learning, and artificial intelligence is helping clients getting data out of their systems for better decision-making. We'll show you in DataSelf, or if you're using enterprise-level BIs, how to do customizations and how to do report distribution. So having said that, let me show the Data House United framework using the DataSelf approach. But again, any BI tool that is properly set up, you can do the same thing. So here, when I log in, let's say I'm the CEO, the COO, or the CFO, and I have access to several KPIs of my business. I'm looking at sales. If I have CRM, can be Salesforce, Acumatica CRM, Dynamics CRM, Sage, it doesn't matter. It's a CRM system, maybe an e-commerce platform, Magento, Shopify. Maybe I have marketing campaigns with HubSpot or Constant Contact, Google Analytics, inventory management, manufacturing, financials, payroll. No matter what you have, what data source you want, you can plug to your data warehouse, you can plug to your analytics layer, and as a user, When I log in, I see those areas and I just point and click and I can navigate to see what I care about my reports. It's very important to control the data. So if I'm the CEO, typically I only see high level things that I care. If I'm a salesperson, usually I only see sales related information like, CRM, maybe commerce, marketing and sales, but I cannot see financials, I cannot see payroll. So your enterprise reporting platform should have a robust security layer to be sure that the right person will get the right data at the right time, seamless and automatically. So be sure to have those components as part of your BI journey. And if you want, today in this webinar, we're focused specifically in the manufacturing side of the business, the producing new products. If you want to learn how DataSelf helps your distribution side of your business, like looking at better sales analysis, looking at marketing, CRM, Shopify, all the things that are not manufacturing, I encourage you to go to our website. We have a page, actually, if you go to dataself.com, go to industries and you choose distribution, we have a webinar that shows all the goodies, all the good things that we provide for the distribution side of manufacturing. Having said that, I'm going to let Clark take over and show you the product presentation around manufacturing. And Clark.
Thank you, Joni. You'll need to share your screen.
I think I'm sharing my screen. I'm going to share the.
I mean, do you have you given me control already?
All right. Yep. Gives my control to Clark. All right. See if you can move the mouse.
Okay. So if I were to click on something, yes, it's now working.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm going to start off with a little bit of my background again. I was an ERP consultant, and I did a lot of this work manually for my customers. And as Joni's saying, anybody can do all of this work. You can create your own business intelligence system. So the focus of what we're looking at today is kind of helping you, what kinds of questions and things to look out for. Part of some of the driving forces for me coming to DataSelf was I got tired of rolling my own every single time, and every time somebody wanted to make a change, we had to go back through everything and check all the related stuff. It's a lot of work and a lot of investment. Whereas with DataSelf, we were able to, we have this built-in platform, turnkey operation, and we had the foundation right there. And that's part of why I'm here now. So we're focusing today on the manufacturing section. But first, I want to point out the distribution side, which is a different webinar, feeds into this because in sales order, in the sales process, your missed shipments of what has not shipped yet that day and what's available to ship, that all feeds into the inventory planning. So all of these views are related and they connect together. So we'll start off with the example of the inventory planning to give you an idea of what it does. This is an example of the kinds of information you might want to look at and that you can do with a business intelligence front end hooked up to a well-designed data warehouse. First of all, we're grouping by product, very simple, then grouping by week. In this case, we're tracking our demand and supply by week. You can also want to make sure to be able to select, am I looking at all my A movers, B movers, or C movers? Am I looking at only certain locations or configurations? And how far out am I projecting? And when you're looking at your projected calculations, you might want to be able to look at that from different perspectives, factoring in different items. So these are the kinds of things you want to take into account. Obviously, we're showing this because we've done it. So just give an idea. But we've got what's on hand today coming from all of the other related information. Your demand sources, what's on work order or what's on purchase order, etc. You can also project what's on the water. You might have a location for on the water and want to factor that in when that's supposed to be due. You can look at your demands, what's on sales order or required as components for production, etc. And that would, and then if you have sales projections, these sales projections in this case can either come from your ERP system or from an external. Oftentimes people will have an external spreadsheet of their own sales projections, and you want to include those into this data warehouse and view. Then you can get your on hand, your projected on hand, and again, this is all controlled by how you set up your configuration. The main thing is to say for each week, how much are you going to be over or short? And then you can see examples when you're getting short. You want to make it easy to see the problems. So changing the font, etc. That's the type of thing you want to do. That's on the inventory sales analysis. Now, this looks easy right here. From myself as a consultant, pulling all of this together was a 30-hour project to make it all connect, all working efficiently and performing adequately. So it's not easy to roll your own. Next item is looking at the BOM. Actually, I'm going to step back a step because I have a real life situation here. I talked about how many hours it could take to do this on your own. We have a client that has had DataSelf for many years. The reason they did this is because they got DataSelf was because they were trying to do this out of their ERP system using Crystal reports, SQL report design, etc. And they just could not get the information in a timely manner in the ways that they wanted to view it for quick decisions. So that's what drove them to, using, in this case, DataSelf, a data warehousing system, because now they're only pulling from the qualified data they put into the data warehouse, and they are able to put their metrics right into the data warehouse. And instead of taking hours to run a Crystal report to calculate everything every time, they have it all pre-built in and ready to roll. So it wasn't anything technically more than what they could have done straight out of the ERP system, but the timing, the performance was greatly enhanced with the ability to customize the input on what is a qualified sales order for demand, what is a qualified purchase order or production order controlling the supply. So that's a use case. This is an actual customer. I can't say their name, but this is real life how they used it. The result for them was they could get the data they wanted, in a way that they needed it to make their business decisions. Next piece of manufacturing, you might want to see what's available. So this is now looking, previously we were looking at just finished goods of what's available in your inventory analysis. Now we're getting to it at a bill of material level, and you can see which items are, which bill of materials you have. You can control which locations, etc. you might want to do. So think about that. You might want to take a look at what types, if you have different BOMs for different purposes, take into account which ones do you need. Do you have live bill of materials, engineering BOMs, estimates, etc. And so the point here is you can go ahead from a BOM and drill down. For example, if I take an example of one BOM there, it will drill down to show me only, you want to make sure that you can drill down and show everything related in your different views. So interaction between your different widgets or objects on your dashboard, that's an important characteristic you want to build into your views. For example, I drilled down on this product, and I can see that in here I have the screws in here twice on different lines, and that's great. But how am I doing? This screw is used in multiple places, but then when I come down to my raw material view, I can see that I have a requirement of 559, and I don't have any available. So I can quickly look at from information from multiple locations and drill down to the view to summarize it all together. Another example is that on this bill of material, where in this case the screws are listed twice, Uh, there, I can also get a view of that same bill of material, but rolling up all of the components into one level. So now I have that screw, even though it's used on multiple lines in my bill of material, I have that raw material summarized for that BOM at all levels. So the interaction between the different components to view elements in a summarized and detailed way. Also, you want to take into account how many levels down do you want to be able to go on your bill of material. We've built this example to go to 5 levels, but some people use a 10-level BOM, etc. Make sure that whatever solution you have come up with can do that. And of course, we would like to be able to say that, be able to, provide that for you. Also include drill down abilities to, if you want to drill down and show other information related to that, make sure that you have the ability to drill down to deeper levels of detail on any view you've created. I'm looking at my notes here. This is a case where on my second use case, another customer, they had some really critical needs because they have e-commerce and they might get over 1,000 sales orders in an hour through their e-commerce system. And they had to build, they used kit bombs. And so they had to make sure that they had all the raw materials available to meet everything in a just-in-time environment. So they actually have DataSelf. Instead of having the data just refresh once a night, they did their sales order data refresh every 30 minutes or so that it would, it didn't affect all the other pieces, but it would update their demand immediately so that they could quickly see how much and their demand on the inventory supply and in the bill of materials, what components they're going to be short of. So one of the things you want to make sure is that you have the flexibility when you're designing a system to accommodate immediate needs without significantly impacting your ERP system. Another view, when you're dealing, we've dealt with the inventory and the finished goods. We've dealt with the BOMs for the finished goods and going down to all the components within them. Now we have a view of example. I want to be able to see what's on PO for my my demand of my raw materials, what's coming in. So this is an example of things to take into account. What is late? What is future? What's due today? So make sure when you're designing your views that you have the ability to find those critical KPIs. Things that are late, I need to find out why they're late and how much that is impacting my process. For the other things, you can make sure that you have the interactivity. There's a particular part number I'm looking for in here. I'll go ahead and search for it and make sure that your views have the ability to be able to search this way, assort and quickly find them, which I lost it. I'm looking for a part number called Con Baby 3. And it's right.
Typically, Clark, there's a prod ID description on the right as a filter that usually can quickly also find any items.
Good. That's good point. Make sure you learn how to use your views adequately. Okay, but these are the kinds of pieces of interactivity that we want to make sure of. This particular product, I can see right here by clicking on it with the interactivity, I can see that I buy it from 2 different vendors. It is 1 day late, and it is only on 1 purchase order. So maybe if it's late and I need it quickly, maybe I should go to the other vendor and I can get it more quickly than the vendor that's on. So these are the kinds of things you want to be able to make sure your BI solution will do. It shows I have 15 on order, but it's 1 day late. And so I can act on that. The another view, just to take it down to the production level, bill of materials, you might, on your system, you might do all of your production entries through bill of material. You might have a work order processor or production order processing system. So make sure you have views to be able to look at the information from a work order level. You might want to look at things from a process step level or from different operations and see what's in common to find out what are your bottlenecks, etc. And you want to make sure that you have all of the interactivity. So if you were to click on a work order or a production order, it would show only the information for that. Things like this can get very complex to design for yourself. Make sure that you have the ability to filter out, I don't want closed and completed orders in there. Maybe I don't want estimates in there. Make sure that you have all of that interactivity to show only the information you want to look at. So that's where I am right now on that. Wanted to kind of, I guess, Johnny, I'm ready to turn it back over to you.
Alrighty. Thank you, Clark. Appreciate it. So Clark covered some more detail-oriented reports that typically manufacturing companies, people use BI to do better, manufacturing planning and execution. What I'm going to show you next is this dashboard, the number 39 on our list here, which is usually a more high-level management kind of dashboard. In management, usually they don't go down to the detail level to see the bombs and whatnot. Those are for the people executing manufacturing. Management usually wants to see the big numbers. Like in this case, let's say units produced and how many were lost. Then you can see for every product, the bars is how many you produced. In the dots is how much percent of each of those products were lost. So you can see some trends and why some items have such a bigger loss than the others. Typically, management also cares about the operators, the people who are in the production, and see how effective they are based on, products, schedules, and whatnot. So there's usually also in dashboards, you can also plot ways to manage operator productivity. Typically, they also want to see data coming from other systems. In this case, we're looking at open sales orders and which items you're supposed to be shipping and are you in line to deliver them. And if you're not going to deliver, going to be late, should you call the customer and try to manage expectations? So high-level management dashboards like this one are usually highly customized because every business, they have different needs. Management have different needs of how they want to see their manufacturing business. But when you use an enterprise BI solution, using templates or building from scratch, you can give management access to their KPIs anytime and anywhere. So what we just covered is the kind of, some of the KPIs for manufacturing, and we showed some of the things we do out of the box with DataSelf as far as template goes. What I want to show you now is some of the customizations that we see clients doing in enterprise BI solutions. And if the clients use DataSelf, or if you use a BI solution that has natural language functionality, that's become very popular. So let me go back to my original entry-level page, and click and show natural language and how it works. In my exercise today, I'm going to show natural language out of sales. But any data that is in your BI platform, that you brought your data warehouse, that you have plugged to your things like Tableau, Power BI, even Excel today has a little bit of natural language. I'm going to show how easy it is for management to get answers to their questions without knowing BI tools, without knowing editing of BI tools. It's just using English, plain English. You need to know English, but if you know English, it's like searching the internet, where the result is a report, not an article. So right now I am looking at my sales natural language functionality. Let's say I'm the VP of sales. And let's say I want to see sales by salesperson in 2020. Probably you already have this report, but let's say that right now I'm busy. I don't know where the reports are. I just want to see this answer. I could go here and say sales by salesperson in 2020. So I plain write in English what I want. the tool will use natural language, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to try to understand what your question is, see if you can find an answer, and then give you hits. Like in this case, he gave me 2 ways to interpret this question. You have to choose which one is the right one. Just like when you search the internet, you find a bunch of hits. Which one you want to pick? Well, pick the one that you believe is the right one. And the tool will build instantly, accurately, an answer to that question. So in this example, by salesperson, I'm seeing sales in a descending order in 2020. Some people say this is magic. No, this is not magic. This is artificial intelligence, machine learning helping humans get better information out of their systems. And natural language for reporting is a fairly new technology. It's about 5 years-ish old, but it's amazing how much things you can do. You know, let's say if I want to see by month, I type in by month. The tool again gives me options. I choose the right option. And now I can see by salesperson. It gives me a line chart with different colors. And I can see in 2020 by month sales for each salesperson. It's amazingly empowering. Many people like to see numbers, not charts, or different representations. Sure, I can come over here and say, show me this as, let's say, a text table, which is like Excel. So if you like numbers, now you got them by the penny. And maybe you want to export the information out into Excel or other tools. If you're using the right tools, you can easily do it. Like with this framework, I can pick whatever the data points that I want to export to out. I'm choosing all the sales by salesperson in January. I tell the tool, show me the data because I want to export it. And then it shows me those data points. And maybe I only want to export this to Excel. Or if you want to see the underlying data, you know, all in this case, you know, invoice number, invoice line items, everything, I can tell the tool, show me the full data with all the records. So now I'm seeing every record, every piece of information for my sales. I export, and now I get into Excel. If you were to be doing this from your manufacturing, you know, data, then you can have all of your, you know, work orders or your bill of materials quickly export into Excel. And now if you want to do something in Excel, it's quick and easy. So these platforms provide you the way to give decision makers without training, knowing English at least, ways to find answers to their questions just using natural language and quickly exporting the data into other formats. The next part here, I'm going to call Clark again. He's going to show how easy it is to build. Actually, I have to delete some stuff. Clark, sorry, I forgot to delete the prior demo environment. We're supposed to start with a blank sheet. Otherwise, it's going to be
all my
too easy.
Okay.
Well, you got to show it how to do it.
Yeah.
So Clark was going to show in DataSelf, and we actually leverage Tableau, how easy it is to build a more complex report, a dashboard that natural language cannot yet fulfill. So Clark, take it away.
Thank you. So the point here, and do I have control? Yes. The point here is whatever business intelligence solution you come up with, that you design, you want to make sure that it's easy enough to get the data out in your own ad hoc queries. Joni just showed the natural language query. That is one way to do this. What I'm showing you now is how you can build your own reports. So the three leading BI tools that people are using are Tableau and Power BI and Excel. And so whenever you're doing these things, and incidentally, all three of those do have natural language query built into them now, even Excel does. So those tools are very useful. And here's an example of building some basic reports and views in Tableau. And this is the kind of thing you want to make sure you can do easily. I'm going to start off and I just want to I want to take my customer and I want to see a list of all of my customers. And then I want to see a list of all of my products that they have purchased. I just drag those up and bing, it's right there. Then I might want to see what are their sales. So I can just go ahead and take my sales and bring it into the report canvas. And I instantly have a list of all of my, it's grouping by customer, all the products that they've purchased, and the sales dollars for that. If I want to go ahead and put date ranges on this, I might say I want to go ahead and filter by my document date. Now it will go ahead and filter, and then I'm going to go, you want to make your filters easy to use. So you want to make sure that your configurations, your choices on your system are can be controlled easily. I'm going to say I want to see only data for the last 3 years. So control simple tools for selection criteria, simple tools to drag and drop. Give you an example, I'm going to create another sheet and show this. This time I want to see sales. I just want to see sales. And I want to see my sales as a chart by month. So I'll go ahead, and you want to be able to create a column for each month, and it automatically does it in year. I'll go ahead and change it to be by month. These are the kinds of features that you want to be able to have access to easily. Now, give you an example of how you want to make sure and take it to the next level. If I also want to be able to see not just my sales, but my gross profit, how I can now see 2 views of the data, from different angles. You have the ability to go ahead, in this case, Tableau or in Power BI, they pre-build the templates for you so that you can come up with the view that is most useful to you. One detail I'm going to make is the other thing to take into account is that I just did something weird there. Okay. My doc date is for last 3 years. What I've just done is applied this filter across all of the views. So whatever BI tool you're using, make sure it has interactivity across the board. The last step is I now have 2 views of data. I want to put them together. You can create, in this case, Tableau or in Power BI, a little harder in Excel to go ahead and create a dashboard linking those views. That can be a little more work in Excel, but in Tableau and Power BI, pretty simple. Now, the point of all of this is that when you have created this and you save it, other people can use it. I was in the edit mode, other people can use it. And now, when I'm looking at this, I can go ahead and select only certain date ranges, and it will adjust my numbers according to the date ranges I have selected. So be careful, make sure that you have the interactivity that you need, not just a half a solution. So in less than 5 minutes, I created a solution that showed me my sales by customer and product, also my sales by time, and connected the two into a combined view that is interactive. Make sure that those features are available to you when you're designing your BI system. Joni, back to you.
Clark, yes, perfect. Thank you. One of the things that I hear often in clients that they come to DataSelf is, and they see this kind of interactivity, quickly you build something, but then when you give to management, they can quickly click in some of the sections of their reports and dashboards, and it filters the rest, or they can click and drill into the detail very easily without knowing complex things. That seems to be a very compelling value that most ERP and MRP systems out there don't provide. Usually reporting, you got to call the consultants, you got to build something that is kind of clunky. It works, but it's kind of limited. People need power. People need to be more more empowered to make changes on the fly, and using tools like this, Tableau and Power BI goes a long way to support them. The other thing that is also very popular is report distribution. Let's say Clark built this report. Let's say that he built it for me, like for my sales team. I look at the report, awesome. I love it. Now I don't want to go to the report. I want the report to come to me on a regular basis, every day, every week, every month. So how can a system like this automatically render reports to people in their own preferences? Some people like to go to the dashboards and see what they want. It's called the self-service approach. Some people like to be receiving reports when they want. There are two main ways to receive reports when people want. One is on schedule. Let's say I want to receive this report every Friday. I can do it myself, or the IT person can do it. You click the subscribe button. You tell who should be receiving this report. So in this case, I'm doing myself. I wanna receive, and Clark is gonna receive it as well. And you can put all the people that you want on this list. You just pick and choose the people. You tell what should be emailed, only this view. It can be a workbook that has several reports, like financial reports for your board members. You want to send it once a month, once a quarter. You can set them up in DataSelf, tell how often to send, and automatically it will take the whole workbook with all the tabs and send to these people. Do you send it as a PDF? Sure, let's do a PDF. You can give a name to this email and how often you want to send. You want to send daily, monthly, weekly. I'm going to say weekly, Friday, 4 p.m., and you press subscribe. And that's it. It's that simple. You can automatically start sending reports to people. The other approach that I'm not going to show here is only send me a certain report or a workbook if a criteria is met. For instance, I only want to know if orders were not shipped yesterday. If something was not shipped, I want to know. If everything was shipped, I don't want to know. Don't even tell me. I don't care. That's called alert. When you use enterprise BI solutions, they all have powerful built-in functionalities to only notify you when criteria are met. So that's also pretty interesting. Alrighty, I think we covered all the topics of our product presentation at this level. Let me go back to the PowerPoint and go to the next slides. If you were to go with DataSelf, some of the things we show you today, and I'll talk more about which ones we do include and which ones we do not include in minutes. So some of the features that we show today, literally in about half an hour, you get it DataSelf up and running. And yes, you get a data warehouse, you get Tableau, and you get a lot of reports and dashboards ready to go after about 30 minutes of deployment. And you do not need to have anyone highly technical. It's a fairly simple process. You order DataSelf through your VAR or through dataself.com. And pretty much there is a quick wizard that you go through, and you have to check security, where your data source is. So usually the half an hour is to be sure you fill out the 5 steps that I show you here. Once you do that and you press save and finish, the DataSelf out-of-the-box solution would be completed. If you were to watch the distribution side of the webinar, to cover the distribution side of your business, pretty much everything that is showed in that webinar is available right out of the box. For manufacturing, we'll talk a few differences in a minute. So deployment is very straightforward. We have the DataSelf ETL Plus tool. Is a fairly new product. We've been using ETL, our own ETL technology, for 15 years, and ETL Plus is the latest and greatest. ETL stands for extraction, transformation, and loading. It's an easy, fast, and powerful way to do data warehousing. And our ETL is amazingly simple. If you know SQL statements, kind of technology, you can do magic. You can be a data warehouse person knowing the basics of ETL processes. So very simple to deploy and to maintain. Pricing of DataSelf. So DataSelf has 2 editions, the Advanced Analytics and Enterprise Analytics. So far, all of our clients that are in the manufacturing business, so potentially all of you in this call, they all went to Enterprise right off the bat. And why they did not use Advanced Analytics is because they want us to customize the manufacturing analytics, the work order, the bill of materials to their specific needs. In advanced analytics did not provide it to them the things that they needed. So they all went to the enterprise level. Now, don't despair. We have a lot of manufacturing clients that they do not need BI, like we showed you today, out of their manufacturing. They have an MRP system, they have some kind of reporting that they're happy with the manufacturing processes. However, they need better analysis out of their sales, their inventory on hand, their purchasing, their receivable, their sales or financials. So for the distribution side of your business, we can absolutely start with advanced analytics, and a lot of clients go in that direction first. It's very inexpensive. It takes half an hour to get it up and running, and we even offer a free trial. So great way to see if the enhancement in the non-manufacturing can be tackled by DataSelf Advanced Analytics. And as you learn the possibilities and you see the power, if you think you want those ad hoc possibilities into the manufacturing side of your business, then potentially you can go enterprise. We are assessing if we can make advanced analytics cover more enterprise. We're assessing if we can make advanced analytics be more powerful for the manufacturing side of the business. I believe we will do that, but in the meantime, keep in mind, if you want better manufacturing, right now, all our clients have eventually moved, sooner than later, they move to enterprise analytics, which is significantly more expensive. So that's about pricing. And I'm going to open the Q&A, but before we go into that, just to give a quick overview of the things we discussed today. The first thing is the concept of using enterprise reporting in BI to get your data house divided into a data house united, and how easy it becomes for users to find their data, their KPIs anytime, anywhere. Building key performance indicators quickly and easily is paramount to get traction with your users. With DataSelf, we have about 100 and so reports and dashboards out of the box with advanced analytics. If you go with the enterprise, we have more than 5,000. So there's a lot more out of the box if you go with DataSelf from a KPI standpoint. This kind of technology, it's amazing to automate complex and labor-intensive reporting tasks. So things that people are doing repetitive today using Excel and Chris and whatnot, you should let the computers do it. Data warehousing and tools like Tableau and Power BI usually can offload people from those repetitive tasks. I encourage you guys to embrace natural language, artificial intelligence, machine learning. It's a journey. There's a lot of things you need to know to be successful. One of the biggest limitations of this technology right now is it assumes that the people know how to ask the questions. And when the answer is complex, quite often people don't ask the right question. They get an answer. They think the answer is answer their question, but it's not, because they made a question and they didn't articulate it correctly. The computer answered that question and people make decisions based on the wrong information. So natural language is amazingly powerful if the people asking the questions can articulate the questions correctly and understand the computer's answer. So again, I always tell people it's like magic, but many times if you don't know what you're doing, it might not do what you think it's doing. We have clients that are using successfully, but again, you got to know what you're doing. If you go with DataSelf, again, deploys in minutes, usually in 30 minutes is the time that it takes to deploy DataSelf, and the starting price is $299. Alrighty, if you have questions or comments, please use the Zoom panel. It has a chatting box and a Q&A section. Let me bring it up here to see if we have any questions. And Zoom changed the way that they put the questions. All right, we have a question from Carl. What is the training process for DataSelf? Carl, thanks for your question. Training is such a fun project for us. Let me tell you why. We have several clients that we deploy out of the box. They watch videos, they read documentation, they watch our webinars. There's a lot of self-service training materials around enterprise BI solution out there. And we have many clients that they got zero training from DataSelf and they became very successful. It's possible. Most clients, we encourage at least 8 hours of training to learn the basics of the user interface reporting. In our case, Tableau and Power BI. So on average, 8 hours will take someone that knows very little about reporting and become fairly self-sufficient in building and customizing their own reports. That covers the 20% of the features that people need to build 80% of their custom reporting needs. So it's amazing. 8 hours go a long way. Now, there are many clients that want to be completely self-sufficient. They want to learn data warehousing. They want to learn ETL, the backend, the server. There's a lot of different components in DataSelf. And sometimes it's never-ending learning. I've been doing this for 15 years, and every day I learn something new. So it takes a lot more training. On average, we recommend 24 hours of training for learning the backend, the basics of the backend. And again, some people need less of that. Some people will take a lot more to become self-sufficient. But anyhow, no training, 8 hours and 24 are usually the beginning package we provide for people to start venturing into becoming data geeks themselves. Carl, thanks for your question. Let's see if there's any other question. I don't see other questions, even though I'm having a hard time opening one of the Zoom panels. If someone is asking a question and we haven't answered, we'll get back to you. So let me go to the last slide. This webinar is being recorded, and by tomorrow, you should be receiving an email with the link to the recording session. Feel free to share with others. And if you have questions or comments about BI overall, not only about DataSelf, but anything, and you want to talk with us, we love Data Geek Talk. So feel free to reach out. You can find here my email as well as Clark's and our phone number. I hope you have learned something interesting today. Thank you for your time and have a great day.